April 1964. A car is revealed to the world and triggers something never seen before. Miles-long lines, crowded dealerships, people literally fighting to buy one. In just 24 hours, 22,000 units sold. The Ford Mustang was not just launched, it exploded as a cultural phenomenon that would forever change the American automotive industry. But what made this car so irresistible? Why, 60 years later, do collectors pay astronomical fortunes for models that cost less than a simple apartment? And how did a vehicle manage to cross generations while keeping alive a passion that seems to have no end? Get ready. This is the complete story of the automobile that redefined the concept of desire on four wheels. It was the early 60s. America was living through a moment of transformation. Young people wanted freedom, speed, style. But the sports cars available were expensive, inaccessible to the majority. Ford noticed this gap, and Lee Iacocca, then vice president of the company, had a brilliant vision: to create an affordable, customizable, and irresistible sports car. The idea was simple but revolutionary. Take existing Ford components, like the Falcon platform, and transform them into something completely new. A car that anyone could buy in the basic version, but that could also be transformed into a true competition machine. On April 17, 1964, at the New York World's Fair, the Ford Mustang was presented to the public. The impact was immediate and overwhelming. It wasn't just a car, it was a lifestyle statement. Dealerships were invaded. Historical reports speak of people sleeping inside the stores to guarantee the right to buy. One buyer in the city of Chicago even wrote a blank check saying he would pay any amount as long as he took the car that same day. The success was so absurd that Ford sold more than 400,000 units in the first year. To put it in perspective, the company expected to sell about 100,000. The Mustang not only exceeded expectations, it created an entirely new segment, the pony car. But after all, what made the Mustang so special? What were its strengths that justified such hysteria? First, the design. That long and aggressive hood, the short and sporty rear, the muscular but elegant lines. The Mustang had presence. When you saw one on the street, it did not go unnoticed. It was a car that screamed personality, youth, rebellion. Second, accessibility. The basic model, with a six-cylinder, cost only $2,368, a price that put the dream of a sports car within reach of the American middle class. You didn't need to be rich to have a Mustang. Third, personalization. And here was Ford's true masterstroke. The Mustang had a gigantic list of options. You could start with the basic model and transform it into practically anything you wanted. Want a convertible to cruise the beach? It's there. Want a powerful V8 engine to crush the streets? It's there. Want sports seats, air conditioning, luxury finish? All available. This personalization strategy allowed each Mustang to be unique, reflecting the owner's personality. Two cars identical on the outside could be completely different under the hood and inside. Fourth, performance. Even in the basic version, the Mustang had fun drivability. But when you moved up to the V8 engines, especially the 289 cubic inches with 271 horsepower, things got serious. It was speed, engine roar, pure adrenaline. Fifth, genius marketing. Ford put the Mustang in movies, bold TV commercials for the time, magazines, giant billboards. It transformed the car into a symbol of status and freedom. It wasn't just transportation, it was an extension of your identity. And now, a pause. Up to here, you're already beginning to understand the Mustang phenomenon. But tell me, if you could go back to 1964 and buy a brand new Mustang, which version would you choose? The economical basic, or would you already go for a powerful V8? Leave your answer in the comments. I want to know. But not everything was roses. Like every car, the Mustang had its weak points, and it's important to talk about them to understand the full story. First major problem, the build quality in the early years. Ford was so desperate to meet the insane demand that production was rushed too much. The result? Cars leaving the assembly line with defects, poorly fitted parts, inconsistent finishing. Many buyers of the first batches faced mechanical and quality problems. Second, the basic suspension. The Mustang used components from the Ford Falcon, an economy car. This meant that despite the sporty appearance, the suspension was not that sophisticated. In more aggressive curves, the car showed its limitations. It rolled too much, had a tendency to understeer. For urban use, it was great, but for those who wanted to truly compete, expensive modifications were necessary. Third, fuel consumption. The V8 engines, especially the larger ones, drank gasoline as if there were no tomorrow. In an era when fuel was cheap, this didn't bother much, but when the oil crises came in the 70s, the Mustang suffered. Fourth, the loss of identity in certain generations. The Mustang went through several transformations over the decades, and some of them were disastrous. The Mustang II, launched in 1974, is considered by many enthusiasts as a betrayal of the original concept. Small, weak, dull. Ford tried to adapt it to the oil crisis, but lost the essence of what made the Mustang special. In the 80s, the Mustang became practically a hatchback with a four-cylinder engine. Efficient? Maybe. Exciting? Not even close. It was only in the 2000s, especially with the 2005 generation that rescued the classic design, that the Mustang rediscovered its soul. Fifth, limited internal space. Despite being classified as a car for four people, the back seat of the Mustang was, and continues to be, practically symbolic. Adults in the back seat? Only in case of emergency and short trips. These weak points do not diminish the greatness of the Mustang, but they show that even legends have their imperfections. Now let's talk about the characteristics that make you identify a Mustang from miles away. The front grille, that aggressive air intake with the central division and horizontal bars, unmistakable. Even those who know nothing about cars look and think, that's a Mustang. The wild horse emblem, running to the left, symbolizing freedom and power. This badge has become one of the most recognized automotive symbols in the world. So much so that many owners insist on keeping the original emblem, even in complete restorations. The triple taillights on each side. This visual signature appeared in 1965 and became a hallmark feature of practically all following generations. 6 red lights at the rear, you know it's a Mustang. The profile of a long hood and short rear. This proportion is the essence of the pony car design. It conveys aggressiveness, sportiness, purpose. Even standing still, the Mustang seems to be in motion. And then we have the special versions, true legends within the legend. The Shelby GT350 and GT500. Carroll Shelby took Mustangs and transformed them into brutal competition machines. Tuned engines, reinforced suspensions, powerful brakes. They were expensive, rare, and absurdly desired. Today, an original Shelby in good condition can be worth millions of dollars. The Boss 429, created to homologue the 429 cubic inch engine for NASCAR racing. Only 859 units produced in 1969. Gigantic engine, insane power, extreme rarity. It is the holy grail for many collectors. The Mach 1, an intermediate version between the conventional GT and the Shelbys. Aggressive look, stripes, spoilers, powerful engines. It was the Mustang for those who wanted to stand out without spending the price of a Shelby. The Bullet, inspired by the namesake 1968 film with Steve McQueen. Highland green, without excessive emblems, focus on the essence. The chase scene with the green Mustang is considered one of the best in cinema history. Each of these versions has its own fan base, its own story, its own place in the automotive pantheon. And now we come to the point that leaves many people jaw-dropped, the absurd appreciation. In 1964, you bought a basic Mustang for $2,368. Adjusting for inflation, that would be equivalent to about $23,000 today, an accessible value for a new car. But here is the shock. A 1965 Mustang convertible in original and excellent condition can be worth between $50,000 and $80,000 currently. That's an appreciation of more than 200% above inflation.
Want more? A 1967 Shelby GT500 was sold at auction for more than $2 million, a car that originally cost about $4,000. We are talking about an appreciation of 50,000%. The 1969 Boss 429, depending on condition and documentation, it can easily exceed $500,000. Some very rare examples have already passed the 1 million mark. Even more common models, like a 1967 Mustang GT Fastback, if well preserved, is worth between $70,000 and $100,000. Cars that many bought for daily use turned into investments that outperformed the stock market. But what determines the value of a classic Mustang? First, originality. The more original the car, the higher the value. Matching numbers, original engine, chassis, and transmission with factory numbering are essential. Cars restored with non-original parts are worth significantly less. Second, rarity. Special versions, rare colors, unusual combinations of options. A Mustang with an exclusive color can be worth 30% more than one with a common color, even being the same model. Third, condition. The market uses a scale from 1 to 5, with 5 being the worst and 1 the best. A Condition 1 car, concourse, impeccable, can be worth 3 times more than the same model in Condition 3, good but with minor defects. Fourth, documentation. Original manuals, purchase invoice, maintenance records, even advertisements from the time. All of this adds value. Collectors pay more for cars with documented history. Fifth, provenance. If the car belonged to someone famous, was used in a movie, has some special story, the value skyrockets. The Mustang used in the movie Bullitt was sold for $3.7 million in 2020. But perhaps the most fascinating aspect of the Mustang is neither technical nor financial. It is emotional. The love of collectors for the Mustang transcends logic, transcends numbers. It is pure passion. There are stories of people who bought a Mustang in their youth, sold it out of necessity, and spent decades looking for exactly that car, same chassis, same color, to buy back. And when they find it, they pay any price. There are parents who restore Mustangs with their children, creating memories and passing on knowledge from generation to generation. The car becomes a bridge between grandfather, father, and grandson. Mustang clubs exist all over the world. It's not just in the United States, Brazil, Europe, Asia. Everywhere there are passionate people who gather, share experiences, hold meetings, travel together. The Mustang appears at weddings. Yes, grooms rent or borrow classic Mustangs for the ceremony. The car becomes part of one of the most important days of life. Collectors say that the roar of a classic Mustang's V8 engine is therapeutic. The smell of gasoline mixed with leather. The feeling of sitting in the seat, holding the steering wheel, feeling the vibration. It's not just driving, it's connecting with an era, with an emotion, with a dream. And perhaps the most impressive, the Mustang conquered completely different generations. Those who were 20 years old in 1964 are 80 today, but 20-year-olds in 2025 remain in love with the car, whether through nostalgia for something they never lived, whether through timeless design, whether through the culture built around the vehicle.
Films like Gone in 60 Seconds, Fast and Furious, video games, music, series. The Mustang is permanently present in pop culture. Each new generation that grows up is exposed to the car in some way, and many fall in love. There are people who have entire garages dedicated only to Mustangs. 5, 10, 15 specimens of different years and versions, each with its story, each special in a unique way. The Mustang is not just metal, glass, and rubber. It is memory. It is feeling. It is identity. 60 years after that April 1964, the Ford Mustang continues to be produced. It continues selling. It continues making hearts race. The seventh generation, recently launched, brings cutting-edge technology, but maintains the essence: long hood, available V8 engine, emotional appeal. Ford understood that the Mustang cannot be just another efficient car. It needs to be special. It needs to have a soul. And as long as there is a collector looking for that dream Mustang, as long as there is a young person looking at a classic with shining eyes, as long as there's someone willing to pay fortunes for a piece of automotive history, the Mustang will remain alive. Not as a museum relic, but as a pulsing passion that crosses generations and continues to conquer hearts. This is the story of the Ford Mustang, the car that was born to be accessible and became legendary. The vehicle that cost less than an apartment and today is worth millions. The machine that transcended its function as transportation and became a symbol of freedom, youth, and emotion. And you? Do you believe the Mustang deserves the title of the most iconic car in American history? Or are there rivals up to the task? Leave your opinion in the comments. I want to know which generation of the Mustang is your favorite. If you've made it this far, thank you very much for embarking on this epic automotive journey with me. And you can be sure this is just one of the many fascinating stories I'm still going to bring to you. Legendary cars, surprising stories, curiosities that will leave your mouth hanging open. Subscribe to the channel and activate the bell, because the next classic we're going to unveil might be even more impressive. Until the next acceleration.